Oh, no, 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 Reseda. We can tell you it's an apartment building, and LA City Fire here on scene already, and now they are actually inside this building, very concerned about obviously the unit above it and all the people that may be in this part of this apartment building. Now they just got here on scene. You can see some of the firefighters there on the roof already. They are concerned about life, so they are checking that unit. It's on the second floor. It is on Reseda Boulevard near the cross of Irwin. You can see the number of resources here on scene. Those flames, though, basically getting worse since we've been here. Now we know firefighters from LA City Fire inside the building. Hopefully they're going to be getting water actually on this fire from inside the building shortly, but they are very concerned because this is on the second floor of a 3-story apartment building. They're worried about the apartment directly above, and of course they're worried about the units that are nearby. People have probably, hopefully, been self-evacuating. If not, they're going to be there actually inside the building warning the residents about this fire. Obviously, smoke, very, very deadly, and this is what they're concerned about. There might not be flames, but that smoke could be getting into people's apartments. We just saw some water squirting out from inside that apartment. That tells me that some of the LA City firefighters actually inside that burning apartment right now trying to get water on the what portion that is burning. You can see that one window, though, it does seem to be very separate from that big sliding glass from the living room area. I don't know what that one room actually is, but it is burning very, very. There's a lot of bulk of fire inside that room. Right now, though, firefighters still making access to the apartment building and actually checking the other units. This fire continues to burn out here in Reseda.
You know, it's pretty dramatic watching those firefighters climb up on that ladder. And, you know, Stu, when you first mentioned about people self-evacuating, I was wondering for a moment there if people were actually coming down that ladder, if any of them were. I don't know if you can see people out on the street because obviously the attention is being paid to that fire right now, the firefighters on the roof. And I noticed even on the third floor, it seems to be balcony, like maybe some plastic furniture of some kind on the balcony. So obviously a lot of things that could ignite even further. Hopefully it won't, but those are things obviously these firefighters are concerned about.
Well, they're starting to get some water on the fire. That's what we're hearing from the units inside that apartment right now. So they're starting to get some water on it. We haven't seen any water actually on that one window where all we see that heavy fire. Of course, the smoke, like you said, smoke and heat all rises. So that unit right above has been cleared. We just saw a firefighter poking his head out into that balcony area. That smoke probably pretty thick, but you can imagine what it's like actually inside that apartment right there. We see every now and then we'll see some water blowing out of that window, a lot of heavy black smoke, but there's some more of that water. So there are firefighters actually in that apartment building. That always amazes me that they're actually making their way inside an area that or unit that is burning right now. But that one window, we don't know if that's a bedroom or a kitchen or possibly even a bathroom area. A lot of fire still coming out of there. Hasn't been slowing down. Actually seems to be becoming more and more. The water now starting to come a little bit more, a lot more water coming out of that one apartment in the living room, what I would believe to be the living room, just because of the sliding glass area. So basically they're in there right now. They are doing search and rescue. Now the rescue part only if they find somebody. So they are definitely searching to make sure that there is nobody inside that one unit. Obviously the neighboring units, they've been door knocking, they've been checking on everybody's safety. We understand no injuries as of yet, but we haven't heard the all clear for this one unit that's burning. So pretty tense moments. I'm sure LA City firefighters, this is what they're trained for, this is what they're doing, and they're doing it very well. Right now though, these guys on the roof, somebody might be saying, what are they doing right there? Well, right now they're basically on a standby mode. They're going to make sure that those flames don't get in the wall, don't get up in that attic space, and right now they're just kind of keeping an eye on what's going on. Obviously some conversation going on with the guys inside that apartment, basically saying, we're seeing a lot of fire. And they're saying, well, we're getting water on on it. So obviously there's fire in a different room inside that apartment. Right now, though, no injuries to any of the residents here at this apartment building, whereas this is going to be in the Reseda area, right off of Reseda Boulevard, near the cross of Irwin. LA City Fire here in force. Hasn't become a second alarm. It's just the original units here on scene. But you can see these guys really working this afternoon, pulling hose line, trying to get water on this open flame in this apartment building.
Well, Stu, looking at the flames, they don't seem to be letting up. You think of all the firefighters who are in those units right now. There's also a risk of a roof collapse when you think of inside the building. Now we see firefighters on the 3rd floor doing some work up there, but there's firefighters below as well. So clearly a very dangerous situation, lots of black smoke, which means the fire, they're having issues getting a handle of it because that means it's burning pretty hot and pretty intensely.
Well, whatever's inside that unit definitely on fire right now. What these guys are doing up there on the 3rd floor is they're throwing down a line. That's basically a rope in a bag. And that other firefighter down there on the ground is probably, my guess, yep, he's going to be putting a hose on that. So they're going to pull a hose line up to that unit so that they have some water available on the 3rd floor. Now, this is the unit above the apartment that's on fire. They're going to have to start keeping an eye on what's going on inside there. Obviously smoke damage, but that heat is very, very hot. We don't know the construction. It does seem to be a newer building, but of course they're going to be worried about flames or fire getting into the walls and up into that 3rd story or that 3rd story unit apartment. Right now, though, you've said it, Susan. We've been keeping an eye on that one unit. A lot of fire. Every now and then, you can see that. There you go, the hose line again. So they are doing something inside there right now. Obviously, not making their way into that other room. The information is being passed along to those firefighters inside there. Obviously, they've got breathing apparatus on. They're dealing with a lot of smoke. And, of course, they're in an area that they don't know, something unfamiliar to them. So they're going to be working on that. Also, while they're in there, again, can't put enough stress on it, life is a concern. They actually are battling the flames, dealing with the smoke, and, of course, primarily, dealing with the looking for any victims. The firefighters up on the unit above, meaning the apartment above the one that's on fire, they're just getting a hose line in place to make sure the flames do not spread up to the 3rd floor. As we understand it, right now, no injuries to any civilians, but this fire continues to burn out here in Reseda.
You know, I appreciate that you're taking those wide shots there, Stu, showing us obviously the firefighters on the ground and the firefighting apparatus, the engines there. I see some people running. Are those firefighters, Stu? Yes, they are. Running down that side street there.
They're firefighters.
I was just wondering, we haven't really seen residents, and we can't see from here if there are actually people outside, which I was hoping would be a good sign showing that they are out of this building. And you mentioned about this being maybe a unit, a building that was constructed more recently, if they would actually have, well, I see some residents there next door, if they would actually have like sprinklers in the units themselves or in the hallway. And it looks like they're making some headway on that fire out of that window there, Stu, on the 2nd story.
Yeah, the smoke's
it's
calming
still
down.
A lot of active fire in there, and of course, you know, we've been watching the firefighters running into this apartment building. I would call this a garden style just because there's actually a center area. So I'm not sure if there's a center hall, meaning it is a center hall. I can correct myself, meaning that these units are basically have a hallway in the center. So that smoke is probably billowing up inside that building as well, making it difficult for people that are in that area or on that floor to get out. Hopefully they got out at an earlier time, and like we said, we've been looking every now and then. We want to see if there's like a number of people outside. We see some residents in the area and a couple of people on the sidewalk. Nobody being treated, thank goodness, by firefighters, meaning that we haven't seen anybody with any smoke inhalation or anything like that. Of course, this firefight still continuing out here, apartment building at the corner of Reseda Boulevard and Irwin Avenue in the city of Reseda. The flames now starting to slow down, but we haven't seen any water squirting out of that one unit, so we're going to keep an eye on that. And right now, though, these flames continue to burn, and of course, the firefight continues.
You know, what about the traffic on Reseda Boulevard there, Stu? Is that affecting people coming and going? Because that's a pretty large thoroughfare for that side of town.
It is. It is, and I didn't take a look at that. You can see right there, Reseda Boulevard definitely going to be closed. If it isn't right, one lane is closed right, or one direction is closed right now, and then they might be closing more as soon as excuse me. As soon as the police department gets here on scene. Just letting you know, we just had a little bit of an issue up here in the helicopter. We lost one of the belts that run our air conditioner. We're not in any kind of peril, but that's the reason why I'm a little distracted.
And you don't need that today because it's still hot and humid outside. And I don't know if you can actually, that smoke is affecting you in any way at all, Stu.
Not at all.
Okay,
not at all. Not at all. It's just a little something going on inside here, inside the helicopter. But this firefight continues. Thank goodness we got an ear on it. We haven't heard the word victim as of yet, which is very, very positive. And of course, this flame's starting to slow down. A number of firefighters, you got the best firefighters in the world out here right now, and they are swarming this apartment building. So they are there we go. That's the shot we've been waiting for. Yep. Now they're starting to get some water in that actual room that's been on fire, and there you go. You can see how quickly that fire is out as soon as the firefighters get the water on it. So right now, it looks like the bulk of the fire is going to be knocked down, and of course, they're going to double and maybe even triple check, make sure there is nobody in that apartment and neighboring apartments. But right now, that fire seems to be under control.
Thank you, Stu.
And we will continue here on CBS 2 News at 5 o'clock.
Live from...
Oh, you guys broke the AC. Yeah, the belt's shredded. That's what that noise was the belt whining. The compressor seized. Copy, thank you for that. Woo, it stinks. What? Oh yeah, they heard it. Anybody that's in aviation knows what I'm talking about. Other people are like, big deal. At first I thought it was like one of the Windex bottles, one of the pressurized. That's what I thought. Can you run the fan? And I don't have you guys up on the Facebooks. I'm going to try. But you guys probably hearing us yammer about just crying like babies about our ACs not working. But it's a little bit more than that. Actually, the cabin actually was filling with smoke. Basically, what happened was the compressor seized, and the belt that's on there just kept rubbing against it. It didn't catch fire or anything, but it definitely burned out. LA City Fire out here doing an awesome job, though, at that fire. Now the flames actually are out. Firefighters that were inside that unit right now starting to make their way onto the outside there. Yeah, and it's well, that's the thing, though. The AC not working, that's one thing. But when the cabin fills with smoke, that's something different. Yeah, we're going to be changing choppers in a little bit. Well, maybe not. We'll see what nighttime brings. This got better gear in it. Thank you, Michelle. Hey, Becky. I was worried that somewhere along that, along with the coverage, we were going to hear on the scanner that the unfortunate find of a victim, but we haven't. We haven't heard that at all. So that's a huge plus. And they're actually starting to release units, so they're confident that they got a handle on this. LA City Fire got here, tore this up, and put that fire out. Simon Des, just checking in. Hey, Sherry. Fire is out. I was a little distracted a couple times. I did not hear any victims. So, yeah, the orange plasma is gone. Tammy, the fire is out. I'm waiting for the official word from LA City Fire. I am not a firefighter. I don't pretend to be a firefighter. I am the guy in the helicopter looking at fires. But from what we can see is the bulk of the fire has been knocked down. That's fancy firefighter talk for a lot of the fire is out. But they have to make that official call. Cindy, like I said earlier, I don't know if you caught that. Is 5 is out my door. Yeah, when the AC went out, it wasn't like it just stopped working. Our cabin actually filled with like burning rubber smell. So it was a moment of what the heck. So. Fires are messy, and the smoke damage is probably going to affect all the neighboring units, so it's going to be an issue for anybody that's, probably 6 units out here, maybe more. Dana, I'm in a suit and tie. Are you kidding me? I'm a news reporter. Copy all. Excellent choice as always. There's one of them. Oh, those guys getting here when the fire's out. Oh, that. Yep. Oh, and those guys too. Making our way back over to Van Nuys. Anybody that lives out here in the valley, this apartment building right there on Louise, I used to live there. For a long time. That was my apartment right there, that top one in the corner. Yeah, it was. It was beautiful. Becky, the thing about that is Becky's saying, like, she's making fun of the fact that we got to the fire first and stuff. It's, we don't go around tooting our horn about that all the time. But yeah, I think it's, why we don't? Because it happens all the time. It's old news. So, when everybody's running around going, we were there first, we got an exclusive. That's because, it's new for them. Todd, I would love to work on that show. Are you kidding me? I'm sitting around with bated breath hoping that they'd offer me something on that. I don't think it is smog. I think that is humidity. Cindy. Vicky, when I lived there, that top floor, 3-bedroom, 1,200 square feet was $1,000. I have no idea what it is now. Got another news helicopter departing right there. That is a different type of helicopter, as one that's not not an A-Star. It's a Bell. Is that a Long Ranger? Jet Ranger. It's not even a Long Ranger. A very cool helicopter, though. Fun to fly in. All right. Wee-oo, near Crescent Heights. I don't know what it is. Let me do that for you. Hey, assignment desk. One of our listeners that are on the